Hi, everybody, and Adam Dean joining you on stage here from Rare Evo. Are we all having a good time so far? Let's give a shout out to all these awesome projects and attendees and the staff that are making this an awesome event. I'm proud to introduce our next panel, which is an introduction to input-output engineering. And so first, let's bring up Head of Product for Input-Output Engineering, Sam Leathers. Yeah! And next, we'll have the General Manager of Input-Output Engineering, Mr. Ricky Rand. And your moderator for the day, Mr. GM Cardano himself, LLoyd Duhon.
All right, GM Cardano.
And with that, I'll leave you to it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Adam. Thank you for the introduction. Appreciate it. All right. Well, hello.
Hello.
All right, so Ricky.
Yes.
It is nice to see you.
You too.
I'd like to know, and I'd like the community to know a little bit about who is Ricky Rand. You're kind of new to the scene here, so tell us a little bit about who Ricky is.
Yes, I am. So I was just made the GM of IOE just 7 weeks ago. Prior to that, I was working as the head of architecture for Cardano. And the IOG senior management wanted somebody with a very, very technical nature to head up IOE. And so my background is, well, I have a degree in microprocessor engineering, so hardware. I then followed that up with a master's in internet computing and e-commerce. So ventured into more into the soft side of things. And it was during my time doing my master's degree, I picked up on cryptography and really enjoyed the whole cryptography vibe, and then got into initially Bitcoin and then eventually Cardano.
Eventually Cardano. So you came in through Bitcoin. So you've been around for quite a while in the cryptocurrency space,
yes,
not necessarily with Cardano though.
Correct.
All right, well, excellent. Well, it is great to have you. We really appreciate that you're starting to steer the ship at IOE. But first, let's talk to Sam for a minute. Sam, of course, you and I know each other pretty well. But tell me, Sam, tell the Cardano community, who is Sam Leathers and what does Sam do at IOE?
Yes, I'm Sam Leathers. I'm head of product for Input-Output Engineering. I've been with Input-Output since 2018, so I'm a long hauler. I've been here all the way through the Shelley hard fork where we brought stake pools online. I've been working hard with the development teams on planning and deploying out the Chang hard fork, which brings governance to Cardano. So that basically means all you guys out here have a say in the future of Cardano. So it's a very powerful thing we've been working on lately. And yeah, I pretty much work very closely with the community to identify what the community's needs are. And then I work with the engineers to basically translate that into tasks and prioritizing what tasks the engineers are going to be working on. And then on the back side of that, I manage the release process of how the code actually gets out to you guys. So when you see a new release on GitHub, that's basically me working with the engineers to get that out to everyone.
All right. So yes, a human to engineer translator.
Yeah, you could say that.
Well, and Sam, you're very visible in the community. We see you around at many events, and so it's really glad to have you here as well. So now let's back up a little bit again. Everybody, I think, knows what IOHK is or IOG. You'll hear that all the time. But now we're hearing IOE, Input-Output Engineering. So what does this mean? What does this change for us?
Well, IOE is a wholly owned subsidiary of IOG. So we're not an independent company, but we do operate as an independent organization. We have around 100 people in the organization, mostly engineers, a bit of product development. And our remit is to support the Cardano community to realize their dreams, basically.
Okay. And so importantly, part of what Input-Output Engineering does is the node. Right, Sam?
Yeah, absolutely. So Input-Output Engineering is the team behind the Cardano node, which is where the Chang hard fork's coming from, and the peer-to-peer stuff you've seen recently, and the Ouroboros Genesis stuff. Basically, all that stuff's getting integrated into the node by input-output engineering. So we do a ton of that stuff. And then on the other side of it, we have the Hydra side, which if you go to the back right now, you can play Hydra Doom. And that's basically showing how many transactions we can throw at Hydra. We had something like 4 million transactions on there during our testing phase before we reset it today. So yeah, you can either play in the back on the physical consoles here, or you can go to doom.hydra.family and you can play in person. So I mean, that's also under us.
So so importantly, it's a sort of a test for how well Hydra can actually handle multiple transactions.
Absolutely.
So and so that's something you can experiment with right here at the show. So
Yes, it is.
So there's going from there. You guys have done a lot of great work up to this point, but now we're moving into the Chang hard fork, as you said. Obviously, the Cardano community is going to begin voting on anything. It's going to vote on changes to parameters. It's going to vote for governance actions such as getting the new constitution in place, and that new constitution is going to have some technical debt. Right? There's going to be some things that are there. So who is going to build that? Like, how does that work?
Well, we're expecting it will be us. We are here, as I said, to stand side by side with the community to build all the things that are necessary to keep Cardano functioning and beyond. We want to increase the functionality and the performance of the node, which we will be putting forward proposals that we hope that the community will ratify and eventually vote on, and so we can acquire the funding we need through Intersect.
I think it's also probably worth mentioning that through Intersect, we're working on getting more community Haskellers, basically, to be able to take over some of the maintainership of the more maintenance type tasks and whatnot. So Adam Dean was our first pilot for that, working with Cardano addresses and the Cardano coin selection repositories that were at Intersect, and he's basically taken over maintainership of it. He's been reviewing the pull requests. He's been working to finalize the release of Cardano addresses to get a new one pushed to NPM that gives us the JS bindings that people are using. So I mean, that's a huge part of it. And just a shout out to the Haskell Cardano API masterclass here. If you are interested and you have some basic Haskell or want to learn Haskell, that's a great place to come. We're hacking on Cardano API right now. We're developing a minimal wallet, basically, that could like replace Daedalus for people that want a full node wallet type thing. So yeah, I mean, you can come out, hack with us. If you have any other ideas you want to build on the Cardano API, come join us. We have engineers from the Cardano node team there, basically there to help people find tasks to work on and to help them if they get stuck on things and show them how to do things. So.
All right. So let me underline that a little bit. What I'm hearing there, and this is great news, is that there are community contributors who are contributing to the maintenance of some core parts of Cardano now.
Exactly.
Because ultimately, in the beginning, this was IOG's job.
It was, yeah. So yes, we definitely encourage community members, developers. I mean, we would like that to be high quality Haskell developers, of course. But there is a role for everybody, I think, from the community. So it's definitely our objective to work more closely with the community, and I think it goes along with Intersect's objectives of broadening the base of developers, which we very much approve of. I mean, it's one of our basic remits that we grow the community, or help to grow the community. And you do that by encompassing more engineers into the process. with various skill sets, not necessarily just hardcore Haskell, which obviously we have in abundance. But beyond that, I think we want to encourage anybody to come to us, and we will share our knowledge. That's one of the things we anticipate doing, because it's not that we're losing something, we're actually gaining something, right? And by growing the community, we still expect to be sort of the hardcore, if you like, developers. but there'll be more things to do, and we anticipate us doing those things and encouraging the next generation to follow us and just build and build and build.
Yeah, that leads really nicely to the next thing I was going to ask, which, what are the means that you're going to use to start engaging the community more and start to bring in the developers?
Well,
Sam?
one thing I can bring up, people have heard of the idea of competition. What we want is co-opetition, where we're working together. And I think it's worth pointing out that we've been working not just as IO Engineering, but we've been working with Well-Typed, we've been working with Modus Create, who used to be Twig, we've been working with PN Sol, M Labs. There are a number of other companies within the community that are already working on the node in parts. So I mean, that's a huge piece, and I think one of the big things is showing the transparency of how all that's going down, and basically being as transparent as we can with the community, so they can see what we're doing and they can get behind it and be like, yes, we agree with what you're doing, we support you.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. Is that even with IO Engineering, with your staff, you still bring in, there's other groups that come in already and work in the node. So, and your plans to expand beyond what's in core now. Let's talk a little bit about that. What does it mean to start thinking about next year and the year after?
Rare Evo 2025 tickets are on sale now. Save big. General admission passes are discounted to $250, and VIP passes are only $800. Join us August 7th through 9th, 2025 at Caesars Palace, Las Vegas. Hurry, only 30 days left to save. Visit rareevo.io and buy your tickets now.
Yeah, so this is something that's pretty close to my heart, and I think one of the reasons I was brought into this position is to look at how we take the core node and move it forward to make it fit for purpose for the next 5 years. And I think my vision is to essentially decompose the node to some degree, to turn it much more into a sort of a pipeline process. And this works very well with Laos, which is the new protocol that's being suggested, and we hope that the community will get behind. And this Laos protocol will basically is a natural way of breaking up the process into more of a pipeline process, where the interfaces are well defined, components are separately developable, if that's a word. I think it's a word.
Yeah,
right?
I believe it is.
So different groups could potentially work on different parts of the node, and it makes the node much more extensible for things we don't yet know, but we know will come. And so we're looking to, I'm personally looking to sort of champion that process, and I'm already talking to a number of developers on how that might happen.
Excellent. And so as we continue here, there's going to be more research coming in as well.
Yes.
Right? So what are the plans inside of IO Engineering to kind of take in some of the new research that comes in and then go back to the community with, hey, we think this might be developed?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So there's an innovation team at Input Output that's not part of IO Engineering, that's looking at a lot more of the newer research things coming out, trying to identify what things can be done, doing some sort of simulations on them. We obviously provide some development support for that. Like, for example, we built the IOSim framework that's going to be needed to be used to simulate a lot of that stuff. So there will be some cooperation with us and the IO innovation team going forward. And also third-party companies like Duncan from Well-Typed 2 years ago started simulating Laos. And he has some basic simulations now that basically IO Innovation is looking at improving and whatnot. And that's one of the things we're going to be having conversation into the community through Intersect on how we go about getting to the next step of that. It's not going to be how do we get Laos on chain. It's going to be how do we get to a point where we're confident that this will actually work for us and this is actually useful to the community. So there's a stepping stone there. We need to put some resources in to get us over that line, and then we can go start the development of how we get that on chain if we decide that's something we want to do.
So there's some good nuance there. I like that. I'd like to tease that out a little. So this is the idea on that some new ideas may be proposed, and there is some engineering work that may have to be done. You guys can assist with that engineering work, kind of prove it out or disprove it, and if you find things that look like they might work well, then you can make a more full proposal maybe for the following year.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Excellent. Thank you. That's good clarity, actually. I really appreciate that. So let's actually go to the opposite end of things. That's sort of the new start. Now let's go to the, hey, this stuff's been around for a minute. We've got some code that's there. Let's call it mature. And you've mentioned something with Adam Dean there, about taking on core code. What is IOE's role in supporting and maintaining the stuff that's there, that's good, that sort of runs the node, and I don't know if we don't need to think about it, but we don't need to work as heavily to develop it. What is that?
Yeah, so this falls a lot in like the tech debt and refactoring category, how we keep the code base itself healthy. Right now, we take a huge brunt of that. And there's questions about how decoupled that can be from the actual development itself. Because a lot of the times when you're refactoring because of a new feature requires something for that refactoring. But one of the goals, like we talked about earlier, is the maintainerships, to be able to get some more of the community working on some of the simpler tasks of maintainership. And if we can make that work, that would be great. But yeah, I mean, it's still to be tested. You don't really have any good models of this happening anywhere else in the world right now. We're kind of cutting edge here, building the road as we walk. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's another good one. Yesterday or just the other day, I heard we're building the ship as we're sailing.
Exactly.
We're building the road as we're walking. I like those better than we're building the plane as it's falling. That one I didn't care for.
That would not be good. At least if you're walking on a road and the road comes to an end, you can decide whether you want to just go in the bush and just go for it, or if you want to walk back to the city. I mean, you have some options there.
You have some options.
If the plane's coming down, you got problems.
Exactly. So I do love that, and that's so. We're a community, right? We're working together. So what are your guys' plans to be visible in the community?
That's actually, you're asking me a little bit too soon. I've only been here 7 weeks.
Understood.
So I'm, to be honest, looking very much internally at how the whole team functions. I want to get it actually performing at peak performance.
And that's very fair.
So I can say that basically
Sam's been around a lot longer than me. So
yeah, so we're working within Intersect for a roadmap process of what the entire roadmap is going to be for the community. And that's going to fall down to a budgetary process, basically, of how we're going to pay for things, where the money is going to come from, who it's going to go to, all that stuff. And we're participating very close in that process. For the core roadmap group, I've been working in that group now for about 3 months here. We've been identifying a lot of the things that we're currently doing so we can be more transparent with the community of where things are right now that have already been funded. And then at the same time, we're looking at future things like Leos we just talked about, and what we need to do there to basically get it into the roadmap and get it some budget.
Right. So there's a lot of work there, Ricky.
Oh,
so.
There's a lot of work. Yeah. There's more work than probably certainly than we can do, and that's why I'm saying we want to encourage others to step forward and be part of that core development group. And I would absolutely welcome any third-party company who wants to come and speak to me about getting involved. Absolutely, please do so.
Excellent. So now since you're getting into the team and getting them figured out, what's your project management goal? What is your goal as the leader of this team for the next few months?
Well, the first step is to get everybody performing to their maximum capabilities, right? A person has to be engaged, they have to be challenged, they have to be comfortable in their environment. I want to make sure all that's happening. Of course, it mostly is, but there are situations where I think as we've transitioned from IOG into IOI and now IOE, sometimes things get left behind and undone and unsaid. And so my first task is absolutely to get that, get everybody working in the same direction in a happy and competent way. So Yeah, that's absolutely my first goal, and I'm right in the middle of that process at the moment.
Excellent. Wonderful. And
Going
Sam,
on the more technical side, right now a lot of our goals are about finishing sub 1694. So as you know, we're about to hard fork into the bootstrap phase.
Yes.
We still have one more hard fork after that. Most of that's developed. We've messed with it on SanchoNet. There's some more stuff coming in Plutus that's going to come in that one. We actually did a major refactoring in Plutus in the ledger to make it so you can have variable cost models now. So basically, an intra-era hard fork doesn't require a new Plutus version, and we can add new Plutus fields to the cost model so we can implement these new features in Plutus basically with this hard fork.
Okay, so you're going, these are the new cost models.
Yeah.
Okay, so and that's what is that going to be a change for a typical developer who's working on top, not working in the node, but working on top, and a DApp developer? What
so like a DApp developer, basically, you have new built-ins in Plutus. You can call a function, and the cost model basically says how much that function is going to cost. So like one of the things we're looking at getting into the next hard fork is RipeMD. Which is used in some other blockchains, basically, and can give us a little bit more interoperability. So we have things like that coming down the line. We have a little bit of finalization and some tweaks, very, very minor tweaks, but in the governance process itself, and some things that basically don't take effect until after the bootstrap that we can still change. Okay. So we're finalizing that. But yeah, we're aiming to get that node wrapped up here towards the end of the year and forked. The interim constitution itself says 3 months from the first hard fork. So that basically puts us a hard limit of how soon we can do it. Right. The goal is to get that node way ahead out of that 3-month period. So people have lots of time to play with it, give feedback and whatnot.
Is SanchoNet already there?
No.
So SanchoNet also
they'll probably be released in about a month or so. That's going to be the first 10.0 release. That's a rough estimate. I'm not guaranteeing that timeline at all.
No tea leaves here. No tea leaves.
But yeah, so approximately about a month or so, we're aiming for a 10.0 release. Okay. And then that will bring new Plutus primitives. It will have the final changes to the Conway bootstrap. And then at that point, we can fork SanchoNet. And as we have those things, we can also reset SanchoNet if we want. We've been trying not to do that to not impact developers as much. But yeah, I mean, so we got to get that wrapped up. And then we have the UTXO HD stuff that's working on right now. That's a huge thing. That's going to reduce the memory consumption on the node. We might be able to get back down to, for example, under 4 gigs, so you can run it on a Raspberry Pi again.
That would be amazing.
So that's another piece that's working. And then the Ouroboros Genesis work that Modus Create has been working with us is wrapping up as well. That basically allows you to sync from the beginning of the chain to the end of the chain. As long as you have one honest peer, you know you have the correct chain. Right. So basically, it's a security improvement on syncing, and it allows us to no longer have a centralized set of nodes that basically everyone has to sync across until they get caught up, and then they can use P2P. In this case, basically, you'll be able to use the big ledger peers from the snapshot, sync all the way, validate at the end that basically the snapshot you are using to sync from is actually the snapshot you got when you sync the nodes, so you know you don't get attacked. And yeah, I mean, we're getting really close on that one too.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's really exciting, actually. Yeah. Very useful tool.
It really is, and so this is what I'm glad we get to make this introduction today of what input-output engineering is doing. First of all, it's a lot.
Yes, it is a lot.
You guys are very busy. You guys are providing the core of what we all rely on and what we all call Cardano.
Yeah.
So thank you both for being a part of this and helping the community grow, and not only that, welcoming the community to participate with you more in the process. So that's an amazing part of this.
Yeah, so one of my taglines I like to say is, we build Cardano so you guys can build on Cardano. So everything we're doing here is basically to empower you guys out there to build on Cardano. Build your dApps, build your NFT marketplaces, all those things that you guys value.
Fantastic. So, Ricky,
Yeah.
final thoughts
Yeah.
for what's next for input-output engineering?
Well, we're actually going to be looking outside of Cardano. Probably not this year, maybe not even next year, but we're looking for to grow the base in other industries and taking the special skills that we've honed, that's safety, security, which actually has many applications in other industries. So it's not just blockchain that needs to have these really secure systems, but other industries as well. But for the time being, we don't have the capacity to do that. So we're building that up, and that will take some time. But in the end, that will strengthen what we can do in Cardano, because obviously we can build more, get more resources in, and have those available for Cardano as well.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. And so this really sounds like resilience for Cardano is what you end up with whenever you have a stronger
I think
core engineering.
the one word, sort of buzzword, that I've tried to perpetuate within the company is reliable. We want to be known as the reliable company. Reliable in our software in the execution, reliable in the delivery times, reliable in every aspect of delivery for the community. That's what we want to be known as.
Ricky Rand, Sam Leathers, thank you both so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Lloyd, for having us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone.
Enjoying the event? Fire up that wallet and delegate your ADA to Rare Stake Pool. For over 3 years, Rare has been committed to providing high-quality staking services. And we're now Chang Hard Fork ready. Thank you for your support.